Take 100. My name is Shireen Simon from blackprint.com, and we are filming another episode of Voices and Vibez. We are back in Nova Scotia, and we are meeting with this beautiful couple here that own the company Anae Properties. Hello, Erica. Hello, Colin. It's great to meet you. Tell us a little bit about you, and tell us a little bit about your company.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me in your home.
So Anae Properties, it's a property management / real estate investing company.
Okay.
We invest in multifamily units. We're working our way up to that. We have single family homes. We have triplex and duplex. So we manage those properties ourselves. So long-term goal would be to be able to provide affordable housing.
Okay.
We focus on Black and marginalized communities.
Okay.
So we started because of generational wealth.
Oh, hold on. I feel like you're gonna give us the whole interview like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So let's back up a bit.
Yeah.
How did you get started? What made you want to start Anae Properties?
It was definitely, we wanted generational wealth, but it was a conversation I had, with Erica, my wife, and we were just like, we want to leave something for our kids.
Yeah.
Right? And how do we do that? And how do we leave that generational wealth? And then it just came to us as like, COVID happened.
Yeah.
And that's where we first bought our first house.
Okay.
And
so you weren't living here during COVID?
no, we were living here.
Oh, you were living here. Okay.
We were living here, but we bought our
your
first rental.
your first property. Okay,
Right,
rental
yeah, it's our
property.
first rental property.
Right.
But our goal was that each kid would have a home.
I love it. How many kids do you have?
We have 4.
We have
Yeah,
4.
oh.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a lot of houses to buy.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait,
So-
if you're buying a house per child, can I be your child?
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
So we had this home. Then we had a home that Erica had with her father.
Okay, it's
so
here in Nova Scotia?
Here in Nova Scotia,
Okay.
in a Black community, Nova Scotia community.
Okay.
And then we also purchased another home in a Nova Scotia community.
Okay.
Like Erica was saying, that we want to support our community,
Okay.
give them affordable housing, places to live, to rent, within their own community.
Okay.
So
That's important.
yes.
Why is that important?
A number of reasons. Nova Scotia has a history. There's some people in Black communities that are going through getting the rights to their land.
Okay.
So we really wanted our children to have a piece of the community.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
And again, to promote home ownership in our communities.
Yeah.
We don't want our tenants to be tenants forever. We want to help them and talk about their next steps.
Right.
Yeah, taking steps towards home ownership. So.
Okay. And you were saying?
Yeah, so that was one of the things I was going to mention, that we're working towards. We don't want tenants for life.
Right.
We want them and teach them, and we're hoping to start doing educational sessions to the community about, how do you become a homeowner,
Okay.
right? And sometimes in your own community where you grew up, because a lot of times people leave and they go, and then there's 5 or 6 in the family,
Yeah.
and only one person owns the home. But how do you build others in the home
Within that family.
family
Yeah.
to get home ownership, right?
Right.
So we're hoping to start doing that also in the future, to give back,
Right.
right? To give somewhat of a social enterprise
Yeah.
perspective for people, so they can learn about home ownership, what it takes. And some people think, hey, I'd have $100,000 in the bank to own a home. When realistically, if you knew the right banks, sometimes there's a bank here that's 0 down payment
Oh, wow.
to get a home.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Are you guys from Nova Scotia?
I'm from Nova Scotia.
Okay, so you're Scotian.
Yeah, I'm Scotian.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah. I
Yeah.
go back generations, so I'm from Nova Scotia.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay, nice. And yourself,
I'm
Colin?
originally from Toronto. My
Okay.
parents have a Caribbean background, so I'm
Okay.
first generation Canadian.
Okay.
My parents immigrated in the 70s, like
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
Caribbean people to Canada.
Okay, wow. And so you clearly you own this home, right? And so when was the beginning of COVID the first property home you said that you purchased? Or the other homes were the first property, like rental properties?
So yes, so the first rental property we purchased was in 2020.
Okay.
But we did also have the rental property through her dad. So
Oh,
he
okay,
purchased.
okay. I
He
just
had
saw that.
he had a home in the community.
Okay, yes.
But we worked with him to renovate it, get it ready so we could rent it out, and it was going well. So we're like,
Yeah.
right, let's do it on our own.
Yes.
And with the mindset of each kid should have
Their
a
own home.
home, just in case another COVID happens, a pandemic. A few years down the line, it's like, hey, you're welcome to come home. There's a home for you. So that's why we bought the duplex. So that would mean the home that we live in.
Yes.
You know, our primary home. We have the home that Erica shares with her father.
Correct.
And then the duplex. Then we got all our 4 children recovered.
Yeah. Well, the duplex is interesting because you get 2
Yes.
out of
Right.
the one, right?
Yes.
And so you have tenants in each
East
right
side.
now. Oh wow! Just purchasing a duplex because isn't that what is the range of homes in Nova Scotia? Like how much does a duplex go for approximately?
Well, I mean,
I'm sure it depends
on
on
the area,
area.
yeah.
area. It depends on area.
Yeah.
But in the last 2 years, because of the big housing boom,
Yes.
and when I say boom in terms of pricing and people wanted to buy, you know, you could have got a nice duplex. I mean, even where we are now, just down the street or up the street, maybe around 200,000.
Oh,
or
wow.
Under, or under, even under.
Okay, so is that the cost right now?
No.
Oh, that was
No.
the cost in
That was the
2020.
cost. Yeah, so in
Oh my
2020 you
goodness.
could easily, I
I feel like we just went back in the future
Right.
because I don't know the last time you could get a duplex. You just
Right.
said a duplex.
duplex, yes.
Why didn't you guys DM me?
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's interesting that you could get a duplex just 2 years ago for that cost. Most people were either like scaling down on their purchasing, but you guys thought this is a great opportunity to buy something,
Right.
right? Did you have to do renovations? Was it a fixer-upper or?
That one we would call a lipstick flip. So we
Okay.
kind of went in and painted,
Okay,
fixed some minor things, like
Okay.
not a lot.
yeah.
You know, replaced some boards and, you know, the stairs and whatnot.
So low investments for like
Low.
Yeah.
very low
Yeah.
investment.
She,
And then
she
it
did
was
some
ready.
flooring in the
I
bathroom.
did.
Nice.
Like, wow, I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys are like hands-on
We're
doing the work?
hands-on, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about your backgrounds.
Mhm.
So, were you guys realtors or like what have you? Tell me what your background is. Yeah.
So my 9 to 5,
Yeah.
I'm a banker. I work for one of the banks here, one of the big banks.
Okay.
I do mortgages and vehicle loans.
Okay.
So that's been about 20 years I've been with them. So
Okay.
yeah, I work part-time right now. So the days that I'm off, kind of work on the real estate things. So yeah.
Okay.
and myself, government, just
Okay.
a public servant, serving the public, civil servant.
Yeah.
Been doing that for 13 years now.
Okay.
Ever since I started to get into the working world, and that's all I've been doing. That's my background.
Awesome. And so, as you start to purchase homes for your kids, when does this turn into a business? Or was it always with the ideology that this could be a business?
We treated it as a business from day one.
Okay.
So from the first property, we registered our name. We opened bank accounts in the business name
Very
to
smart.
build that credit,
Yep.
the business credit, because we know that it takes
Oh yes,
a
we
little
have a
bit of
banker
time.
here, so this is the
Yeah.
strategy. This is the
Right.
smart strategy behind it. I
Yeah.
get it. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because it takes time to build that. So we
Yeah.
thought, one property, we started as a business from day one.
Right.
We did a lot of, YouTube videos and podcasts, learning about property management and just different niches of real estate investing. So yeah, day one we treated it as a business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think you've set this on cameras yet. What does the name Anae stand for? What does it mean?
Well, it's an acronym of our children's name,
Yeah.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So Aiden, Nyla, Ariana, and Armani.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Armani and Ariana. I apologize. So it's an A. So Aiden, Nyla, and then Armani and Ariana. And it just came out. We were like, what should be our name
Right.
for our company? And we were just like, I was like, well, why don't we incorporate something with our children
Yeah.
and their names, and we just why don't we go in order of their from youngest to oldest, and it worked.
And it
made
speaks
sense.
to our why, right?
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
of
it's for
them
the
and
kids.
generational wealth and
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
And this is generational, right? So they look at it and it's theirs. They know it's theirs.
Right.
So are the kids excited? Have you sat down? Being in the finance industry, I'm sure you speak, or you have conversations about money. You have conversations about credit. How old are your kids?
So oldest is 22,
Okay.
and then 17,
Mhm.
our son, and then 7, our daughter, and 4, the youngest,
Okay.
our son.
So the 4-year-old has everything down packed now.
I think so, yeah.
So you have a 17-year-old and a 22-year-old. How important is it to have these conversations about finances? And at what age did you start having these conversations at?
Very important. The 17-year-old, we have him reading real estate books. One
So
of the
is my
most,
son.
yeah, yeah. It's great. It's one of the most popular ones, which I just read. That's been out forever. Is Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Oh yes, yeah.
and he's read that from beginning to end with no gaps in between. So he read it in a weekend, right?
Wow.
So he's very interested in the business.
Good.
We purchased a triplex back in July, and it's almost like the 2 older ones are in there. I mean, Colin's picking up washer and dryers, and he's there. He's
Yeah.
this one was big reno, so we want them to see the process and what that
Right.
looks like.
Exactly.
Same with the 22-year-old. I mean, she now wants her first when she moves out.
Yeah.
She wants to own a home, so
Yeah.
she thought about purchasing something, and she sings, so she travels and does that, so she could have it Airbnb'd when she's
Yes.
gone,
She
things
can
like
make
that.
money while she sleeps or while she
Exactly.
travels, right?
Or like we said, buy a duplex. And
Yeah.
I mean that's a great start to start. You live on one side, and the person on the other side helps you pay your mortgage.
Oh, that's very smart.
Yeah.
That is very, very smart. Yeah. It's good for them to have that responsibility, right? But also, as you said, understand the process. So your 17-year-old, what is he graduating next year? Or
He
is this his last
graduated.
year?
Yeah, he's in college now, so
Okay, and what is he studying?
he's doing film and video, so he
Oh,
wants
wow.
to be yeah.
Wait, your kids are like my kids.
Yeah.
That's what my daughter studied.
Right. Yeah, so
Okay.
he's doing that.
Okay.
He loves it, and again, that could be him helping us with our business and doing, and his sister as well.
Yes.
With her career. So yeah.
That's really good and very smart. And I love that they're very engaged with the business. So you mentioned your son is almost acting as an acting property manager if he's getting the washers and the dryers and a
Yes.
part of the process. Are they hands-on as well? You mentioned you had done some work in like the flooring work. Are they just as hands-on as well?
When we can, we ask them, to be hands-on, to come and look at what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
so they understand that there's some sweat equity, as they
Yes.
call it, that you have to do as well.
Yeah.
We do have a contractor that does the work and tradespeople, but there's certain things that we could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you
You know?
can save a bit
Yeah.
Right.
on that, right? Yeah.
So yeah, that's an important thing for us. So I've already given my the 17-year-old. I said, hey, this weekend we gotta move some dryers. We gotta paint some walls. We have to do some flooring. So just be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It gives them, they become more invested in the property
Yes.
as well, and then they can appreciate it
Mhm.
as opposed to just receiving it, right? So, from a cultural standpoint, would you say, like, how important is this that other people within the community also start doing the same thing, just buying properties, leaving it for their kids, leaving that, I want to say generational wealth, but it's more like being able to inherit something, right? How often do we hear within our community that we've inherited something?
Well, there's two aspects to that. Well, here, I mean, there's an issue with land titles. So a lot of the Nova Scotian or Black communities, they were given land.
Start your morning with a delicious, gentle, natural cleanse. Encourage movement, release gas, and remove toxins as you revive your body for the day. Looking to release water weight and kickstart a healthier journey? Try botanically blended Gentle Ease Digestive Tea. Shop now on blackprint.com.
They've grown up, they've lived on it for generations, but they don't have the title to it.
So why is that?
That's just how the government did it, almost
Purposely? So
Um,
how do they go about to acquire?
Well, now there's a process. The Land Titles Clarification Act. It's been actually in the books for a very long time.
Okay.
But it's within the last 2 years where the government has, well, I'll say 3, has said, okay, we're going to clear these titles, right? Clear, meaning
what does that mean?
giving the titles to those who've been living on the land, who've owned the land.
So what were they doing? They were just holding on? Like, I'm...
They, for a lack of a better word, they were just stewards of the land rather than owners, right? So they couldn't get technically a bank loan.
Couldn't transfer it to a child.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing a lot of families then lost out on property. Would that be an accurate statement?
I don't say they lost out on property. They lost out on the generational wealth, because housing is one big way to get money, acquire wealth. So if you don't have a land title, or you don't have a title or a deed to you can't go to the bank and say, I want an equity loan off of my house to pay for my son to go to medical school, or pay for my daughter to travel to the continent, right, and do a learning journey there, right? Whereas, others in other communities, especially in the white community, that's what they do.
Right.
They pull the equity out of their house, which is tax free, and they send their children to university. They send their children here. They give their children.
They buy property.
Exactly. Right. They give their. I was about to say that they give their children money from their own home to buy their own property.
Right.
Right, and then that cycle continues. Whereas in our community, we couldn't do that.
So what changed within the last 2 to 3 years, where now the government is giving the deeds to the people that have been on the land that they were given? What did something change? Something get passed?
I think it was a collective voice of the community saying it's about time. This has been on the books for a long time, and you need to make it happen.
Yeah.
And one of the things about making it happen was we couldn't do it alone.
Right.
The government had to support us because it's a long process, right?
And when you say long, sorry to cut you.
It's about a year and a half.
So
from the first day you submit your paperwork.
Yeah. So if this is actually kind of sad, right? Because if I've been living on this property, maybe I'm getting older, right? If I don't go in and start going through this process, can my kids go through this process that also live in my household?
They can.
Okay.
Again, you could somewhat pass it down, but again, they don't have quote unquote ownership.
Yeah.
They're just stewards, as I look at it.
Yeah.
Stewards of the land.
And are there any legal implications that can kind of go can you sue somebody because they were stewards but yet they were given this land? I mean, this might be outside of the scope of what you are aware of, but is that a possibility?
I'm not sure. It's a little bit out of my scope. I don't know the finer details.
Yeah.
But I do know that there are several communities where people are looking and doing this process to get ownership, that title to the land, right?
As they should.
Right? Because one of the things is that they couldn't sell it, or they couldn't get something off of it.
But they could stay there. They could still live on the land.
Live on the land.
Their family, they can have kids, and they can come up, and all the next generation can live on the land. But technically, it's not their land.
Right.
Right.
Don't have that document.
That's
and it's not all of
absolutely
them.
absurd to me.
It's not everyone, but there's pockets in the in each of the, not each, but a few of the Black communities that have that.
Yeah, across the process.
So now, collectively, the community knows that they can go through this process
Yes.
and acquire the deeds to hold the ownership of this land now. Okay. Just from what you know, is the land essentially just like one household, or is it like huge square footage that has like multiple homes, or that has like farmland or anything like that?
In some cases, it's acres.
Girl, that would break my heart.
Yeah.
Just breaks my heart. So hopefully people are aware, you know, to go out there and start the process, and not think that it's too late, or not be like, I don't want to say complacent to it, but not action it.
Right.
Not action it. Hopefully everyone does go out and action it, even though it takes time.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you guys have any information on your site that also speaks to that?
We don't. No.
Okay. It might be something good to just put on there, right? You're building up this great business for your kids, and it's just more information to get out there and just even talk to people that are going through the process, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
So how many properties do you guys own now?
So right now, we own 3 and 6 doors, so to speak. So we
Doors?
So we because the triplex is 3,
Okay.
but 3 and would have 6 tenants, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's great. Now you've surpassed the kids, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Surpassed because now we could try to build our business, right? So.
Yes.
With the last acquisition, the triplex, we're hoping to get that stabilized, refinance it, and repeat, and go a little bit bigger each time. Hopefully.
Yeah. We are staying in an Airbnb in Dartmouth as well, and it looks like it's it was maybe an old motel.
Okay.
It looks like it's like potentially 2 sections of a motel,
Okay.
and one section is completely boarded off. And then the other section that we're in, you can tell is renovated because they have the curtains and things like that, right? And it appears to be 3 levels. Now I'm not walking through the place. I'm not walking
Just
through
keep
the
your head down.
yeah. I literally come in the back. But when I go to the car, I look and take a scan to see what's really going on there, right? And it's interesting because we do see like what I believe is the property management outside, right?
Okay.
But would you say like that to me that seems like a great investment, right? I was like, oh, I wonder how they acquired half of this motel, and if they're planning on acquiring the other one. You guys have already gone to duplex, now triplex. Is it easy to acquire like multi-home unit here in Nova Scotia? Or is it a harder process because it might cost a bit more?
I would say both. It's hard because there's not so much in the market that meets with what we think would be good for, so we're not breaking even, so we actually make funds.
Right.
So when we run the numbers on the property, like get all the rent rolls and run those numbers and see if it works,
Yeah.
a lot of them aren't working right now. So
Are not working right now?
Yeah, because so one of the things that we've decided from jump is that we're not kicking people out. That's what a lot of people are doing. They'll buy up a
It's
commercial
happening a lot
property,
everywhere.
right? They'll buy a multifamily thing, maybe a 6-unit, 7, 10 unit,
Wow.
and then kick everybody out.
And then raise the prices.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and do a little bit of renovations,
That
maybe a
doesn't
new
even
floor.
justify it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So we said to ourselves, we're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it that way, it works for people, the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, it's like, does it work with those rents that we currently have, or at least 1 or 2 people leaving
Right.
in the near future,
Right.
right? So if we buy, speaking this into existence, an eightplex.
When? Yes,
when
when.
so our next
Yeah.
property, let's say,
Yes.
is an eightplex,
Yes.
right? And knowing that one's already vacant,
Mm-hmm.
and we know the owners told us, 2 other are on their way out. So
Okay.
we know there are going to be 3 apartments or 3 units that are going to be coming available.
Yeah.
That we could raise the rent
Yeah.
affordably, but it's not outrageous.
Right.
But we don't want what we've seen where someone would buy the whole 6, 8 unit and then eviction notice,
Evict
eviction,
everybody.
evict.
Ooh.
And,
Yeah.
and under the guise of rental eviction, which is now legal again because there was a moratorium on it.
I was
for
just
a
about
bit.
to ask the next.
Yeah.
That was going to be my next question. Like, is there not any stipulations? But you're saying it's legal.
Right, it is legal.
Is
There
that-
was
Is
there
that
was a
provincial?
moratorium. Provincial, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a moratorium on it until March, where you couldn't kick anybody out during COVID.
Oh yes, during COVID. Yeah.
So during
yeah.
COVID, you couldn't use that as a reason to evict
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
Achieve irresistibly soft and hydrated skin with a Honam sugar scrub. Whether it's lemon, turmeric, or lime, polish away dead, dull, dry skin, lift dirt, and stimulate a natural, healthy glow. Then simply moisturize with Honam shea butter to reduce blemishes and marks. Love your Honam. Shop blackprint.com.
We still have rent control, which is on until 2023, December. So
Okay.
that's a big fear for us, because a lot of landlords or property owners get painted with the same brush, and we
Okay.
don't. We try to stay away from being that, slum landlord. We fix everything when we hear about it.
Yeah.
We try not to jack up rents or kick anybody
But
out if
isn't
we
there
don't have to.
the rules to the percentage that you can increase
Yeah.
anyhow, right?
Right now, it's only
2%.
2%.
Oh, it's really small.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not complaining, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is that also provincial?
Yes, that's also
Yeah.
provincial. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you have a triplex, a duplex. How much property is available? There seems to be a lot of property available. Is that a fair statement?
Now I would say yes. There's a.
It's died down.
It's
like,
died down, but there's still a lot that's available in the market. But you have to deal with interest rates.
Yeah.
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 Right now.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
hopefully things in the next year or so will start coming back down. Yeah. I mean, girl, tell us what's the insides. You seem to know.
yeah, you're a banker.
You must know what's going on.
We
What's
find
coming up.
out when everyone else finds out.
She says that, but when we turn off the camera, she'll
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah, but with the raising rates, like even when we're analyzing properties, we're analyzing it at a rate, a percentage above what
Yeah.
we think because we want to be conservative with it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's another reason why sometimes the numbers aren't working. But we know that the rates are going up. We
Yeah.
don't know how long that's going to happen, but
Yeah.
we just need to keep that in mind. So we're noticing that things are staying on the market longer than they were
Yeah.
6 months ago, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So the main rule when you're purchasing a rental property is that your rent should be 1% of the price.
Your
Of the
rent
purchase-
should be
1% of the
price.
purchase price.
Oh, this is interesting.
So you have
Single family homes.
Yeah,
and
so-
whatnot,
for a single family home, not so much, but then but that should still be the rule for that, because
Okay.
that's why sometimes single families don't work for people unless you're getting it for a relatively affordable price. Because think about it, if you buy a single family home for $500,000. Not a lot of people are going to pay $5,000,
Yeah.
$5,000 rent.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
I mean,
That's a lot to pay rent, regardless.
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah. Unless
So-
I guess that sounds like maybe that's a Toronto place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know, but yeah, that is a lot. And to me, if you're paying $5,000, you should be paying a mortgage, and you probably
Yeah.
should live in a huge house
Right.
with a lot of people, or make a lot of money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so what's next? Like you talked about in the beginning, doing, is it courses that you're thinking about offering to the community, or how do we inform the community? Are we educating the community? What are we doing?
Informing the community in, webinars, where even meetups where we could go to one of the community centers and how to get your first rental property,
Yeah.
and just kind of go over everything from start to finish with them. We want to be able to do
Yeah.
that for the community, especially the younger people in the community.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I think it's important. A lot of things we're learning now, I wish I would have known
Yeah.
20 years ago.
But even if the younger community's not ready to purchase, it's the education, or even getting the parents ready
Yes.
for the younger generation that's coming up, right? You have your son is 17, and then how old is the child before? Excuse me, your child before?
22.
22.
Oh no, the one younger. The
Oh,
younger.
youngest 7.
7.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I would say probably like between, I want to say like 12, 15, getting them in the mindset for when they get older, then when they get to the 18 to 17, hey, you can own your own property by whatever age. I think for me, I had my first deposit at 24, right? When I was pregnant with my son, and I was terrified. I went to go sign the paper, and I pulled out.
Really?
Yeah, I completely pulled out. I probably tell my kids about it all the time because I was terrified of the process. But if we have educators informing us how to mentally prepare, how to take care of your credit, how to have a deposit, maybe there's no deposit required, what all these great tips and gems, right? Like getting educated about how to mentally prepare for home ownership, right? And then home ownership is one thing, but you guys are on the next level because you're on rental properties.
Right.
You're on, hey, you own this one, let's get you ready for the next one, right?
Yeah.
But there's a whole process there, right? Yes, I think what you're doing is very imperative for us as a community to understand that we can do these things, right? And just mentally get ready, financially get ready. So many of us, kind of shy away from the loans and the credit cards, right? So would you say, just from the conversations that you've been having with the community, there's the right financial literacy out there at this time?
That's the thing, and oh my goodness, like since we started this, a lot of people have just been coming to us with all kinds of real estate questions.
Yeah.
Like, how can I get a piece of land? Do you know how I can get a mortgage? Consulting
Yeah.
is one thing we really want to. It's intimidating to,
Yep.
talk to a mortgage broker, or if you know nothing about that trade and what they're doing and what to ask.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we would really love to do.
Yeah. And there's an element of trust.
Yeah.
There,
That's
right?
it.
So there's a lot of things to break down, generational curses to break down
Yeah.
in order to get to generational wealth,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And we're learning, and with every property we buy, we're still learning
Yeah.
the little ins and outs. I mean, with the one that the triplex we bought in July, we were like, we were reserved because we didn't want to insult, but sometimes you have to be like, well, there's something wrong here,
Right.
and we should ask them to fix it
Yeah.
before we purchase it or take something off the price. But we're like,
Yeah.
no, it's okay. We'll fix it. But when you see those little, fix that and that corner and that corner and that ceiling and that floor, it adds up.
Yep. there's a
Right.
whole ratio there
Right.
of like
Yeah.
how many bumps and bruises are we willing to take on.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those are the little things that we're learning, and
Yeah.
that's what we want to provide to people to say, you know, sometimes don't rush into things, or
Yeah.
not, just be mindful of what you're purchasing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do those inspections. Be willing to understand and say to the person, well, you know, I see we have a hill in your backyard, so when it rains bad, does the water
Oh wow! I would
Come
have
into-
never even thought about
come
that.
to your house?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, let's go check out your basement.
Right.
Right.
Check the corners.
check the corners. Do you have
Yeah.
a sump pump?
Yeah.
Right. Was
Yeah.
there ever a flood in there?
Oh wow!
You know.
I lived in a duplex in Alberta.
Yes.
My mom raised us in a duplex in Alberta at one point, and we had this hill.
Yeah.
And for us, it was like we get to slide
Like a
down that
snow
big
hill.
ass hill. Yeah. Yeah. Even I was just looking at property just a couple weeks ago, and I'd love a backyard, like a nice big backyard, because I want a garden, right? And I did see one with like, was a little bit of a hill, and I thought, oh, that would be nice, right? Sure, you have the flat land, and then you have a bit of a hill, but I would have never thought of flooding.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
would've
you just
never
have to
thought of
run
that.
down. Those are the things you have to think about, right?
Yeah.
So those are the things we want to
Educate
teach
us
and
about.
educate
Yeah.
people about, right? And whether it's a variable mortgage or a closed mortgage,
Yeah.
right? Or fixed, I should say.
Yep.
You gotta pick and choose. I mean, for the last 4 or 5 years, a variable mortgage was absolutely the best way to go.
Yeah.
But now that
Yeah.
interest rates are
Yeah.
skyrocketed,
It
like
just went up, I think, this week.
it went
in
up
Onbet.
yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing the notice that it just
Yeah.
went up. Yeah. Yeah. Oh goodness gracious. Is that also going up? Because I don't know this. Is this also going up at the same rate? It is going up at the same rate federally, right? That's not provincial.
Right. That is.
that's
Yeah.
that's
That's
federal.
Yeah.
The Bank of Canada sets the rate, and then the banks adjust their mortgage rates and
Yeah.
loan rates to
Yeah.
that
I think it just
overnight.
went up. What was it? 0.1 or was it
0.5.
0.5? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so what have you started teaching? Because I feel like there's so many ways that you can go with this, right? And it probably can be a bit overwhelming, right? So where do you plan to like zone in, or where are you currently zoned in?
Right now, we're zoned in on our next acquisition.
Okay.
What that would be.
You guys are just
Yeah.
picking them up. So
Yeah.
hold on, because you said July. So how frequently are you picking them up?
There's some space in between them.
Yeah.
So it's, right now it's like 2 years is between
Oh.
Yeah.
our properties, but we're hoping that time starts to shorten and shorten and shorten
Yeah.
to a point where she could be home and doesn't have to work.
Do it full
Full
it
time.
would be work. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
doing this full time.
Yes.
Which
yes.
is more than full time
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
And sorry, you were saying where you're currently zoned in.
Yeah, so the next acquisition, because normally when you're dealing with the bigger properties like the smaller apartment buildings, it takes a longer time. So
The smaller apartment.
like
building.
six units to 8 units or
Oh,
16.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit longer to do the due diligence, to get the environmentals, everything done. So it takes longer. So we're just kind of, looking at how long it would take to actually acquire, and then also educating ourselves. Like I have a real estate investing coach
Right.
that I meet with weekly in a group. So learning as much as I can to prepare myself to bring that back to the community.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and also it's for your clients, as you guys both said. Like you are still learning, right? So you're trying to get as much information that you need. What has been the biggest challenge thus far for you guys?
I would say maybe networking. Nova Scotia doesn't have a huge networking community for real estate investors. It's important to get into rooms with money lenders, really, because you know, we don't always have to go to banks. There's people that want to invest passively,
Yeah.
so they'll have funds, and you know, they don't want to deal with the property management end of things or the legwork. So
Your angel investors, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
getting in rooms where, you know, we could network, get our names and ourselves out there.
Right.
So that's a little bit of a challenge, I think.
Well, and she made a great point because, you know, no one's not going to invest with you unless they know you. Because they're, you know,
it's
can I get
relationship.
10,000?
Yeah.
Right.
See, there you go.
Yes, of course. Why not?
All right, so
Why didn't you tell me? I would have came with it. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Can you do this interview? I'll be right back. Right?
Okay. So that's Erica was right. It's the networking. I think that's been our biggest challenge is building those networks to get those investors, to get those people who know, say, there's a property coming up, so we could maybe put a bid on it, put an offer on it before it gets to the market, right? Because sometimes some people, you know, they just want to get the property off their hands, and you know, if they see, oh, it's a mom and pop, okay, I'm fine with giving it to you, rather than a big real estate corporation that I know is probably going to jack up the rents, kick.
They won't even think of it. It's just part of the process, right?
Yeah.
So how do you insert yourself in these spaces? Like, one, you got to find them, and then two, to insert yourself. So is it kind of like a who you know, or it's a lot of just chit chat with different people so you can find out what's happening or who to talk to next?
There's that, and there are some networking events that happen. Like there's Halifax Real Estate women's meetup that I attend.
Okay.
A lot of us are still new and learning, so but there's people from different trades in there. There's realtors in there. There's mortgage lenders.
Lenders.
So, but just still getting our names out there more, right?
Yeah.
So,
I guess also just kind of getting into different spaces, because you never know who's in a different space, right? Throughout my process of like meeting businesses, I'm having different conversations and then just hearing, oh, well, have you heard of this person? Nope, never have.
Right.
Have you heard of this person? How?
Yeah.
No. But it's an opportunity of, just kind of maybe thinking outside of the box and putting yourself in different spaces where you never know where somebody might know someone, right? Somebody might know someone, And actually, someone recently said to me at a conference to use my network. Bless you. So are you using your, bless you. Are you using your network on LinkedIn? Are you using your network on LinkedIn as yet? No. Get out there,
I need
man.
to get better
Get
at
out
that.
there.
I definitely need to get better.
Well,
at
you're
that.
already doing so much, so you know it's time, right? It's finding the time to do every little thing that we need to do, right? Yeah. So, but that's a great one. Like, just use your network on. Sure, there's the Facebook groups. Sure, there's the Instagrams and all of that. But then LinkedIn is used as your professional network.
Right.
And then there's BPTN, which is Black Professional Tech Network, which is like the Black LinkedIn, right? Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
Toronto.
Really?
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, get on there. BPTN, shout out for me for shouting out for you guys. I think they just had their summit last week, but get into these spaces and utilize your LinkedIn. Let that be a place where maybe you put out tips of what you're doing, and connect. Let's connect on LinkedIn, right? And let's leverage each other's network on there. So you're in the banking industry. Any single person in that banking industry, you connect on LinkedIn. Make that a part-time. Clients coming in. Hey, honey, just connect on LinkedIn, right? Connect on LinkedIn, and then because their network has a network, and what's that saying that you're only as much as your net worth is your network or something like that, right? Yeah, use your network. Or build your network so that you can use your network, right?
Right.
yeah.
Great.
So
We're slowly hoping that we become that network for people.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
You are, right? Like, look at how much I'm learning now
True.
that I did not know about. I didn't even realize that you could just easily buy a triplex or a duplex or something. I'm thinking about a single home, but there's other opportunities.
Yes.
And not only that, there's other opportunities in different provinces,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right? So everybody always talks about purchasing out west, purchasing in Alberta,
Right.
right? Because Alberta has been known as the place of getting property at a very cheap price,
For sure.
right? Everybody knows Toronto's expensive,
Yeah.
Ontario's expensive. Literally in Toronto, we have commercials where commercials to move to Edmonton.
Wow.
Yeah, right on the radio stations.
Yeah.
Commercials to move to Edmonton, and like, why not buy your property? And whenever I go on like realtor.ca, I check my area, but I grew up in Alberta, so I check Alberta because I have family out there and friends out there as well. So I check the prices,
Yes.
even if I'm just looking.
Just to compare.
Yeah. Just why spend 800,000 to $1 million over here when you can spend 300 to 400,000 over there?
Yes.
But I would have never thought to look in Nova Scotia, right? And
Atlantic Prophecies.
yeah, the East Coast. This summer, all I heard was, "I'm going to the East Coast." I drove up in the summer, and it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, people, like, you could literally be purchasing on the East Coast, and if you want to know how, you need to get in contact with my friends here, right?
And partner with us to do so.
Yes.
Yeah, and then spread the word. Because that's how we're going to build, right?
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break right here. There's literally so much that you can learn from this, and like I said, you do need to do it full time,
Yeah.
right? You got to get to that point because you can grow your team, and then
Yeah.
you can get more done. You can scale, right?
Definitely.
Right. But I think the key point is like educating us on how to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, educating us. Oh, I'm gonna ask you a question, and you might not know the answer. You're gonna be like, why are you asking me that dumbass question? It's not a dumbass question, but why am I asking it? What percentage, or do we know the average percentage of Black people that own their homes in Nova Scotia? She's looking at me like, girl, I just told you.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Do you know that stat?
I don't think I know it.
Yeah.
But
I think it would be a good one to look up.
Yeah.
Here's some content for you.
Yeah.
Like, put out that type of thing. Like, did you know? Like, it's great content maybe for Instagram.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, right. Like, did you know that this is the percent? Even if we have that, I don't even know if we'd capture that because we weren't capturing census before, right? So, but did you know that this percentage of people, or this percentage of people, Black people own whatever homes, or this percentage of Black people own a rental home, right?
Right.
That would be a great one to put out there. Or did you know, and I don't know any of these things, what percentage of equity you could pull from your home to put towards your rental home,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like, grab them in.
Yeah.
You have me intrigued right now,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't know any of these things, but I'm just thinking off the top as we're having this convo. Yeah.
That first stat I really need to know. The Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation might have that on their website, so I need to check that.
Yeah.
And that would be a good one to.
Yeah, to pull up
I
there.
think, or even current census. I think
Yeah.
the housing
That might.
information is coming out next month. So
Good, yeah. Even to do the research to pull out those gems, right? Just to get people thinking about what they can do,
Yeah.
right? And even so, right now you're looking. It's just you two working on your business, right?
yes,
But yeah, I see I can see your future, and you guys will definitely
Yeah.
have like realtors underneath you that can go out there and source the property, or source the investors,
Yeah.
or source the pool that's looking. But because people are always looking.
Oh, for sure.
People are always looking, right? Yeah, yeah.
And that's one of the big reasons why we want to scale and hopefully have me do it full time is,
Yeah.
and why we manage our own properties, because a lot of people have a property manager that does it.
Mhm.
We want to be able to, see have a property manager under us, and
Yeah.
this is how we do it. This is the system we put in place, and we want to be able to tell them how to do it instead of kind of going how somebody else runs their business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And an operations man, somebody that can come in and acquisition manager.
Yeah.
So
There's just so much to
it's a
build,
lot.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And then there's also so once you start building that, you have, as you said, you have the property manager there and everybody there. I kind of just lost my train of thought. So you can just pause that piece right there. I still didn't get my train of thought, but you're right though. Just having the different teams that you'll slowly build out, and then as you start to scale, you can pull back from that and have your teams run that area of your business, right?
And then it becomes a lot more passive for us.
Of course,
Right,
that's the
'cause-
goal, right?
Because everything has systems, procedures, policies where
Everything's
Yeah.
streamlined.
you just lay back and then you fly to the Caribbean where you go. And
Work on the business instead of in the
In the
business.
business,
yes.
yeah. It's the process and it's the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the time, and by then, you've already built. So congratulations, you've already built the
Yes.
generational. You've
Yeah.
already built, literally. Have you taken that in? You've already built the generational wealth.
Yes, thank you. We
Yeah,
have.
yeah, that's huge. And we talk about it so much as a community, but you're doing it. You're doing it. Yeah.
And we want it for other people as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We want, we don't want to be crabs in a bucket where we're just pulling people down. No, we
No.
want to help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not afraid that, you do this and you do better than us.
Yeah.
We
learn
we're
from
happy.
each other.
We learn from each other.
We learn from
you
each
know?
other, right?
And, that just builds a stronger community for all of us.
Yeah.
Right?
This is very impressive. Very, very impressive. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. So we've started with residential homes.
Yeah.
But next, are you looking at commercial as an option as well?
Well, when
Yeah.
you purchase, I think, over 4 or 5
Oh,
units.
Over
it's gonna
5,
be
it's technically
commercial. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start your morning with a delicious, gentle, natural cleanse. Encourage movement, release gas, and remove toxins as you revive your body for the day. Looking to release water weight and kickstart a healthier journey? Try botanically blended Gentle Ease Digestive Tea. Shop now on blackprint.com.
So the mortgages work a little bit different.
Okay.
So right now when we purchase, they look at our credit and our income.
And the potential income.
potential.
Mm-hmm.
But once it's over that 5 units, they look at the building itself, and no, they of course
They
still
look
see
at the
if
building,
we're-
Yeah.
and the potential rents
Yeah.
that you'll
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, so they do the projections of the
Right.
revenue that can come in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also thought about mix as well, where there's there may be apartment buildings up top, and then commercial where we would lease out at the bottom. Yeah.
Ooh, you
Yeah.
just building, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to-
You guys are just building, and the opportunities are endless.
They are.
Yeah, the opportunities are. So next time I visit, I'll have my property from you guys. You guys will help me
Sounds
out.
good.
Yeah. And you guys will have a building or a
Right.
block, right?
Yeah.
You guys will have a block, right? Yeah. No, it's cool. So, have you helped you've bought a lot. Have you got to the stage where somebody has bought through you, or you've helped guide somebody through their first purchase as yet? Or are we working towards it still?
Not yet. Still working towards that.
Yeah.
But not yet.
Yeah, I think it's the people that we know would ask us for one segment
Yeah.
Mhm.
of their journey because they
Yeah.
got stuck.
Yeah.
So I remember somebody that asked, so we're thinking about buying a rental, buying a new home
Okay.
and selling our
Current.
not selling renting out our current house that
Okay.
we live in,
Yeah.
and then buying a new home. And they were having an issue with the bank where they were like, well, your debt ratio is too low,
Oh wow. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I mean too high. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say too low.
Not too
Jeez.
low.
Yeah,
Too
yeah.
high. Too high.
So they
My
really
fault.
follow the 30-70%.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
like, well, your debt ratio is going to be too high.
Yeah.
And I said, well, did they incorporate the rents that you're going to get from the house that you're leaving, your
Oh.
current home?
Right.
And they were like, no. They just based it off my salary.
Ah. Yeah. So
Right.
there's a gap. It's almost like doing a
Right.
gap analysis.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So I told them, go to your banker, go to your mortgage specialist, and say, well, and do your research.
Mhm.
Look, in our neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
rents go for this for a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom house.
Yeah.
We have a 4-bedroom house, so we could get. I'm just throwing a number out there. Let's say $1,700 a month for a 4-bedroom house,
Yeah.
right? Let them put that into the calculation. Obviously, they're going to calculate. Okay, we got to take the mortgage out. We got to take insurance out and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But that would help, and found out that that put them over the top.
There you go. Right. It's almost like you guys can actually just even facilitate these great checklists
Yeah.
of things to look for. But again, it's a process.
It is.
And it's not just the process, it's also the time, because you're yourself first, right? You are yourself first,
Yes.
then you are a couple,
Yes.
and then you guys are parents, and you're also like, you have your jobs out there, and you have your business.
Right.
So there's literally so much going on. So you just gotta find the time, yeah. There's not enough hours in a day, right?
There isn't too.
Yeah, but at some point, I think it's knowing, because you're always going to be a student,
Yeah.
right? So it's at what point, or even taking a look back at like, at what point can we hire someone to start doing this piece, and delegating a bit of that, so that you can open yourself up to something else, the next piece, right, or the next step, right, so that you can kind of scale to whatever you need to do. Yeah.
Hopefully, it's soon.
Mhm.
From what we're learning is that if you're not strong on something,
Mhm.
you should hire somebody who's
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah,
on
man.
that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And,
Yeah.
and don't feel like, oh well, I'm only hiring them or paying them for this aspect. But it's like, well, if that aspect is going to grow your business,
Yeah.
if that aspect is going to get you to the next level,
Mhm.
why not?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And don't be cheap about it, man. Just
Right.
put the money out there. It's an investment.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Give
You
it
know,
back.
just like going to university or college,
Mhm.
it's seen as an investment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's the same way you have to invest in yourself or invest in people that can do that for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've heard it time and time again in like hip hop culture.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
right?
You're
So
right.
just whether you're picking it up from there or whichever culture you're picking it up from, something we just got to do. And we wouldn't be the first,
Yes.
right? We wouldn't be the first. So, yeah. I'm very, very impressed. You guys are doing a great job. I hope you guys
Thank you.
constantly tell yourself that in the mirror and constantly tell each other that, and I hope your kids also reiterate that
Yes.
to you guys. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
yeah. This has been a great learning session for me. Learning session, yeah, because I wasn't too sure what to. I mean, I went on the social media, I scanned through things, but still, it's once you sit down, that's where you get
Yeah.
the juice.
For sure.
You get all the gems and the
Good
juice,
stuff,
right?
yeah.
yeah. Well, is there, if there was one thing you wanted to tell someone, or you would tell yourself, if there's one thing you would have told yourself along this journey, something back then, what would that be?
I would say start early. Put yourself out there and utilize your network.
Yeah,
Those are the things that I would say.
yeah.
I would have told myself to do it. I think for myself, I could have purchased a house a long time ago,
Yeah.
and I would have had. And the important thing people always say is not timing the market; it's the time in the market, right? When it comes to real estate,
Okay.
that's how your wealth grows.
Okay.
And before I purchased this home that we're in, our primary residence and so forth, I was thinking about buying. I was just nah.
I think a
I'm
lot of
s-
us sit there.
Yeah, I'm like nah. I don't need it. I'm fine. No,
Yeah,
right. There's no need. There's no need. There's no need at the moment.
yeah,
And then when the need came, that's when I bought.
yeah.
But I could have been in the market 4, 5, 6 years earlier,
Yeah.
Prior, yeah.
gain that equity,
Mm-hmm.
gain that growth, maybe sold it or kept it to rent out,
Mm-hmm.
and then purchased. So that's what I would definitely have told myself.
I think you just told me. I wish I had told myself that.
Well, like you said, when you were
Yeah.
24, it's the same
yeah,
thing. It's just
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
you know.
seize that moment. Yeah. So if you didn't hear that, and you're sitting in that spot where you're comfortable, maybe you're renting, and you're comfortable, maybe you're making good money, and you're comfortable, right? Because there's that jump, that increase that you have to pay, where you're doing good, you got that money, but you maybe don't want to put out more money or make the sacrifices to put out that money. Just buy. Just buy. He said it's more important. It's the time in it.
yes.
In it.
And
That's a lesson right there.
that's the lesson. I was gonna say that's the lesson right there, because, you could rent,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine, but people don't save good when they rent. I mean,
Yeah.
houses can be, maintenance and other things that you have to pay for house heating in and so forth. And sometimes when you rent, those things are included. I mean, even though there might be a $400 difference between owning and renting,
It might be about $1,000
Oh,
difference,
different.
$1,200, $1,500.
Right.
Maybe in Nova Scotia it's a $400. If that's the case, just move to Nova Scotia.
But that
Yeah.
difference,
Yeah.
right, is, do people actually save it?
Yeah.
Right,
No.
they don't.
Mine goes to food. Like she
Right.
gets fed real
Yeah.
well.
Yes. Foodie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
good
noticed
point.
myself, and I thought myself a great saver, but then I was like, when I was renting, I was like, could have done better,
Yeah.
right? Because when I bought this house, I had the same salary,
Yeah.
and I was only paying, what,
Okay.
$480? No,
Yeah.
$500 a month for rent.
Damn.
I know. And then
Well,
when
you
I
sound
bought
like you bought this house in the 70s.
right. So, and then to buy this house,
Yeah.
it basically tripled my rent.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Because that's what happens, right?
Right?
Yeah.
To pay the mortgage and everything else
Yeah.
with it. So
Yeah. But that was a long time ago, people. That's not now. Like,
yes.
if that's now, then I am moving right now. Yeah. Okay. Those are good lessons. Those are great lessons. Thank you so much. I feel like
Thank you.
I know I'll be back in Nova Scotia at some time, but I feel like we should meet again.
We should.
Definitely.
Yeah, we should definitely meet again because you're going to grow and you're going to have more to teach us, right? And this is so important. This is so important for us as a community, right? So thank you so much for sitting with me and
Of
just
course.
amplifying your voice and
Thank
Anae
you.
Properties. Like, this is huge. So if you're not following them, follow them and check out their website or check out their socials and watch this video on YouTube. If this is the preview, watch this video on YouTube. Okay, well, thank you so much. And
Thank
thank
you.
you again for tuning in to Voices and Vibes. Have a good evening.